Welcome back to another episode of Motogp Mac, and today we're going to talk about Michelin boss Piero Taramasso's comments about what is going on and the criticism of the tires. Now, he was asked whether the criticism annoys him, and he said, yes, very much, because I know the effort that we make. Often, there are circumstances are unfounded. You hear a lot of conspiracies like bad tires given on purpose, and that's completely absurd. Blaming the tires is one of the easiest excuses in the book. But I am sorry that no one noticed that there are 36 records, or as in Indonesia, Qatar, Valencia, brand new asphalt, the specifications were bang on target and the results were good. He said on the Jorge Martin controversy, it's true that the season ended in quite a weird way. I believe there are many more factors that contributed to this. The stress of fighting for the title, the open rider market, the regulation change on the tyre pressures, the introduction of the sprint races, all added to the massive pressure load. Then he said about Jorge Martin's performance in Qatar, he said was not in line with expectations that generated the controversy and the discussions. He said, if a tyre doesn't work, it doesn't work on the warm-up lap. And already from lap 1, it makes you a second slower. Martin was substantially slower in the Qatar Grand Prix rather than in the sprint race 24 hours earlier. The first 6 or 7 laps of Jorge Martin were decent. In lap 4 and in lap 7, he sets the same time as Pecco. He then misses the start, but recovers 3 or 4 places. Now, if a tyre does not work, he said, you cannot do this. The rest are factors of racing, where the tyre wears away, and then the front and the rear ultimately leading to a second a lap slower. Taramasso was then asked if Michelin have a quality control problem with the tyres allocated to Motogp riders. He said, no, this is not true. I invite everyone, riders, technicians, journalists, to come to France and see how we manufacture them. We make a huge effort to have the maximum quality controls and to be sure that our tyres work. We do not want bad publicity, but we do want the riders are happy. The new tyre pressure rule, implemented midway through the season, has brought extra scrutiny. The final round saw an increase in penalties dished out to riders who breached the minimum tyre pressure. Knowing the first time they would get a warning, they played the wild card. If they always wanted to respect the values, they could have done it. He was then asked, will Michelin change anything for the 2024 MotoGP season? He said, we will talk to Dorna, FIM and IERTA. We do not make the regulations. We can always improve. Now, I think it's a really, really strong statement that Taramasso is saying here, because basically Michelin came under an awful lot of pressure from everyone, I suppose, when Martin was saying, oh, I got a Duff tyre and it was my tyre in the soft tyre in Indonesia and all of this. And I get it, riders are very slow to blame themselves, but I think Taramasso here is pushing way back and saying, listen, you go sort yourselves out, there's nothing wrong with the tyres. And he makes a very valid point. You know, they went to new circuits this year and the tyres were good. Do you know what I mean? They were doing their proper due diligence on the racetracks. So it wasn't necessarily that they were at fault or it was a Duff tyre. As we mentioned, it could have been absolutely anything. Could have been a Duff tyre. Could have been something happened in the warm-up lap. Could have spun on the rim. You know, there's a load of excuses that you can pick. But I think Michelin have taken Jorge Martin's comments very personally. And I think they've shot back at him. So it'll be interesting to see how next year Jorge Martin treats the Michelin situation. But I'd definitely love to know your thoughts. What do you think of Taramasso's comments on the tire situation? Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another video.